Miss Saira. So I can't believe it's been a year of us recording the podcast. It's just kind of wild to me and surreal. We just ended season 2.
Yeah. I mean, if you had asked me a year ago if we would be here today, still, I would have said, yeah. But in my brain, I guess I thought we would still be recording season 1, maybe. But time just flies. Subjects fly. Mm-hmm. Everything we do has shifted. You know, you're a freak of nature and Notion.
I love Notion. Notion.
Yeah.
Should I just keep saying their name?
Yeah, let's manifest having them sponsor us because honestly, they've altered our podcast life. But
they really, really have. I really love them now. Everyone at work gets mad at me, but I don't care. No, I mean, God, hell. I mean, I think we talked about this in season 1, but you know, I learned a lot about myself when it comes to finance, when it comes to money, unpacking those inherited beliefs we have from our parents of, you know, don't talk about this, that's gauche, whatever, to now being the kind of person that is like, you know, this is how much money I make a year, Sai. This is how much money I actually make after taxes. And this is how I put it into my 3 buckets. And by the way, I've made my goals that we talked about at the beginning of last year. I'm like confident, and that feels really amazing to me, like from a financial perspective. I never thought I could say that.
Good. I mean, that's girl, feeling empowered and feeling like you can do what you want to do. And that you have the discipline to maintain your lifestyle and continue to grow. That's like the dream, right? That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to be able to say, I have enough money to walk away from my job if I want to. So feel free to criticize me, world. I'm here to either have fun or, you know, eventually take a 6-month vacation and take a break and find a cool job and never talk to any of the people that I work with again, except for the handful of people I actually like.
YOLO. Yeah, YOLO. You know, some of those days where you're like, all right, like when we went to Mexico, okay, and I was really close to my savings goal that you and I had talked about, which was, I'm just going to say it, $60,000. I wanted to work up my savings.
Whoa, pause. When did we go to Mexico?
I didn't go to you didn't go to Mexico. Me and Taylor went to Mexico.
Oh, I was like, what?
And it was amazing. And it was my birthday present. And thank God for him. But we're sitting there and we're in the pool and we're on like our last day. And I'm like, okay, if I quit my job, how long could I burn through that savings in Mexico? I know that sounds crazy, but it was true. I was like, I have this money. It's kind of like a little buffer. And no, I didn't quit my job. Yes, I came back. And yes, I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. But just to be able to have that nest egg to say, like, if things do go awry, I have an exit strategy. And that's completely fine to have, you know, especially in these days in general. So I feel good about that. I feel really good. But, you know, we took a shift in season 2. You kind of gave me the reins, which I'm still shocked about, and said, yo, go write our editorial calendar. Where do you think we should pivot and go with this? And I decided to take it into series and kind of branch out of finance a little bit. And it was a little scary.
I trusted you the whole time. I put the blindfold on and rode the plane. I rode that ride. So
thank you. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we should jump into the body of the episode and start to unpack kind of some of our learnings from this season. Thoughts?
All right. No, let's do it. I'm ready.
Go. All right, Sai. Season 2. Season 2. Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Here we are, wrapping it up. Last episode. I want to take us all the way back to when we recorded back, I think in August. The sun was out and it wasn't raining in Seattle, which, yes, it's raining here now in February. Shocking. Our first series, we talked about Girls Just Want to Find Balance. Series 1. Do you recall that one?
You know, I hate being quizzed. Dr. Gerner, Denise Shull,
yes,
and Nina.
Yes. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to take those 3 episodes and kind of talk about overarching themes that I saw from the beginning, I think the biggest one is if you can allocate enough money and find the inner strength to do so, you could ultimately walk away from your job and kind of do whatever you want for at least a little short period of time. And you are your own safety net. You can trust in yourself, right? Like, I know for me personally, if I ever lost my job, if God forbid something were to happen and fintech suddenly disappeared, I know that I would hunt down whether it was another job or start my own company. And that was kind of the beginning of the conversation of, do you have what it takes to do it? And the answer has always been yes. It's more a matter of coming to grips with that idea and then wanting to execute on it.
I was so elated at how timely that episode was with Dr. G, by the way, for my selfish reasons, because I was in a transitional state at work. And I was having really big imposter syndrome when it came to taking on a bigger job. And also finding the way to exit with grace and not burn bridges as much as possible. And she literally wrote the script for me in that episode. I have it in my phone still. And that conversation went beautifully. I led with all positive intention, which was really great. And just led with my happiness because it's what I wanted to do. And ultimately, at the end of the day, no one's mad at that. And that's what I took away from her. Like, I was like, these are some legit people that can really help me. And I hope they can help somebody else. So when I say Dr. G is a G, I really, really mean it because she helped me a lot. So,
yeah, I think everyone in that series had their own unique perspective that provided some form of advice to me, whether it was imposter syndrome, like you said. I mean, different ways of managing very emotional risk, like Denise did, or what Nina's doing, which, like, she's like this think tank of doing all the things and creating her own empire. So yeah.
Right. No, I mean, it was a wealth of knowledge to kick off this season. I really remember that so distinctively about Dr. Gerner. Just because it was so timely for me. And I'm sure people can listen back to some of these episodes and like listen to Denise talk about risk and talk about her own journey. Like, she really opened up and was like, I felt like we were in the room with her having a martini. I was like, this is, some greasy, amazing shit she's gone through. And like, she's come always out on top. And I'm like, these are the kind of bad bitches I want to ride with. You know what I mean? Like, let's all like rise, each other up. So I know I'm getting a little like, yeah. All right, Sai, I want to talk about something that was really true to you, and I've never seen you be this vulnerable. And so thank you for letting me kind of cater this series about life stages. Mm-hmm. Because I definitely know, there was one thing, you were getting married and eloping. So there was that. There was another one about, how to afford a baby. And then obviously there was one about death, because you got to round out the circle of life here, huh? And we talked about how to monetize your mortality. So of the 3 episodes that we went through, which do you think was the most impactful for you?
I mean, I just have a kinship with Hallie that I think is just very deep, just because I have severe fertility problems and it's something that I've been dealing with for a long time. So when I hear an expert talk about infertility, it's something that I lean into and it's something that I want to discuss. I think weddings, getting married is an easy decision, right? Like, it's when you're with the person that you love, getting married to me does not really matter. It's like, that is the easy part. The hard part is figuring out, like, where are you going to buy a house? When are you going to have baby? Like, all the other things are the hard part. And then when it comes to death, like, death is expected. I'm reading a book right now that talks about how the samurai live by their own like code of virtues, and they all circle around the same idea, which is everybody dies and you should be living your life in preparation for death, meaning the samurai are always extremely like clean and tidy. They bathe with their swords because they anticipate like that death may come at any moment. They do things very intentionally and respectfully and with loyalty because they want people to remember who they are and that they are good people. So like I don't know. After reading that book, I'm kind of like, A, I would like to become a samurai, and B, death is inevitable, right? Just kind of like taxes. And I want to prepare for it so that nobody else has any pains. But if you were to talk about like my passion point right now, it's definitely fertility. What about you? Which one struck you the most?
I think I was most informed by the mortality one because I've never written a will or even thought about it. So it was interesting to have that conversation. I felt like that was the most educational one for me. I obviously loved like how to what was it? How to say yes to the dress. Just because it was fun and we did like your dress reveal and I couldn't be there in person. So I cried over here by myself in my room. But what I thought was the most impactful was probably how to afford a baby, because both you and Hallie really opened up. And I think it's because you guys both know each other from a younger age where we all didn't really think about having babies. And now here you are. I, like most women, assume when she wants to try, it's just going to happen. But as I get older, I'm starting to realize that's not always going to be the case. And so for me personally, I had to come to sort of a grips with that to be like, yo, you're about to be 33. Like maybe it's time to start thinking about this seriously and exploring your options just to know. And I think that's a reality that all women have to face if they want to have a child. And it's scary. It's not fun.
No. And equally important news, Nick and I just found out that we got bumped up on the surrogate list. So I'm like ready. I'm ready for whatever that is. So maybe in season 3, there's going to be some more things to uncover from a financial perspective, because I would love to do a bunch of series on that itself to like explore that more selfishly. But yeah, I have lots of thoughts there. So I'm glad that you took away a lot from that as well, because I do think it's a really important subject that often gets overlooked because of the fact that we do assume that all of our lady parts are consistently functioning, and that is just simply untrue. So,
and I think what also came out of that too was how companies should look at this too. Because, everything is kind of shifting on its head now. I think I wrote the other day in some presentation, or I talked through it, was, it's all kind of flipping on its head, so to speak, is like, I'm looking for the best corner office with the best window, to now I'm looking at companies that are like going to offer me the most time off or the most grace when it comes to big life events or work-life balance or whatever. And one of those I didn't even think about was, if you had a miscarriage, do you get time off? Like all of those things. Like those are very much a reality that I've never even thought of. So I was happy that we could shed some light on that too.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving right along. The next series we talked about, Girls Just Want to Build a Bank, which was an interesting one. I think we tried to unpack it from different angles. We met with beautiful, amazing women that are doing amazing freaking things. I think the conclusion I came to after that series was, I don't want to build a bank. It seems like too much work. That's where I netted. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's where I netted on it. There's a lot of intricacies and a lot more smart people out there than myself that are doing that work, which is righteous in its own regard. But I don't know. Do you still want to build a bank? Is that what you're gonna do, or like, what are you doing?
Okay. I think we both know that series was selfishly for me because that is my wheelhouse, and those are like, ladies represent. I love women building fintech, doing all of the things, especially in a predominantly male industry. Mm-hmm. So that was one part, Saira, do you really want to build your own neobank? Because I do dream about, the Saira card. I don't even know what that means or what it looks like or
Fuck you.
but but simultaneously, we both know that the reality is that it's highly unlikely that I enter into that space. I just have other things on my list that I would like to accomplish before I create a charge card, but no, it was just super educational. And I think for me, the other big thing that I was trying to highlight for everyone is that there's a lot of stuff going on in the background behind every time you swipe your card, every time you go take money out, every time you do stuff at a bank. There are 1,000 companies making a coordinated event occur for you, and nobody really has transparency into that. So that was the other piece that I was trying to kind of link back to season 1. Like, here's some more intel on how this works. So thank you for sticking around for that series and for indulging me on more of an informational session than I think most people usually anticipate when it comes to banking.
I mean, I definitely learned stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let's not step away from that for a minute. I'm just not going to go off and build, the bank of Megan McShane. It's just not going to happen, even though it sounds nice.
You would love to have a Nina and Sai charge card. Come on.
I know, but I don't want to deal with the legality of like security and blah, blah, blah. I just don't want to do that. But I learned a lot.
So good.
I think I had to do a lot of flipping research before those interviews, to tell you the truth, because I didn't even understand what the frick was happening. I was like, what is this back end stuff that's happening? And so it helped me get more educated in a space I didn't know a lot about. So no, I'm grateful for those episodes. I think that was a good journey you took me on. Like, you're still teaching me stuff, even if I'm not going to use it. I could be that girl at a dinner party that like all of a sudden is like, well, did you know? And like just bring up one of those points. So if anything, you're making me look good. Yeah.
Yeah. Fintech trivia, baby. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
All right. Well, series 4, we had to talk about crypto, obviously. We unpacked how to understand the crypto craze. We wanted to get to know what an NFT is. And then obviously we had to discuss DAOs to understand what the frick is going on there. I am still trying to understand crypto. I feel like everyone's kind of changing stuff on me all the time. I think I have a general sense of it. I can explain it to a certain term at work now, which makes me feel good and educated. But yeah, I think the ladies that we talked to there are definitely going to be blossoming even more than they are right now in the next 2 years. We had Beck Jones, who, yes, I follow all the time on TikTok to learn everything about her and NFTs. We had Caitlin Cook come on from OnRamp, who was a beautiful soul, to help us just unpack crypto at its very basic 5th grade level. And then we had Lee Quinn, who came on, who actually just established her own DAO. Have you joined her DAO? Are you on her DAO?
I'm in her Slack. At some point, I'm sure she'll open up the DAO to all of the people. So I'm with you. I think all of these women are actually just at the very beginning of their crypto journeys. I think a lot of people are generally. It's still early, as the kids say, but I'm still exploring some of the more nuanced things behind crypto. I think that there are really interesting criticisms and clapbacks, by the way, to what people say about cryptocurrency generally. So I'm still in a phase where I'm actively teaching myself and learning from experts exactly how a lot of this works. I just recently had my first one-on-one with someone from a derivatives platform in crypto, and they basically just break derivatives norms to generate derivatives in crypto.
Womp womp. What? I can't.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
What the hell is that?
If anyone from DYDX is listening, you have to call me. It's literally people trading derivatives. So, and I mean, derivatives is just such a broad term. We've talked about this before, but basically exchanging one thing for another. So it could be like, Bitcoin for USD at a very specific cadence over a very specific time frame. That is considered to be, a type of derivative. So it's super cool though. Like, just so cool.
It's like full circle for you.
Oh my goodness. Like, will I retire somewhere in that industry? I sure as hell hope so. Like in like a dream state, I'm doing crypto derivatives. Like I already turned to our mutual friend Scott, and I was like, Scott, how have I not gone into crypto derivatives? I stayed in derivatives for too long. I should have gone to crypto derivatives like a decade ago. So
I wonder how many listeners we just lost. Oh,
stop. Everybody loves a good derivative.
Just keep saying derivative. Have I ever used this analogy with you? My friend Lindsay Schragen in college, she was like, should we make a baked ziti? And I was like, what's baked ziti? And she's like, baked ziti? Baked ziti? And she just kept screaming baked ziti at me. And I looked at her at one point and I go, yo, are you going to tell me what baked ziti is, or are you just going to keep screaming it at me? That's how I feel about derivatives.
I feel like you said that in our second episode ever.
I know. Oh, I'm bringing it back.
Throwbacks.
I am bringing it back because that's what it reminds me of.
Hey, I'm sorry. I won't use that word. I won't use the D word anymore, okay? I'll turn it into a curse.
No. Ooh, let's call it the D word. I love that.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, was that our final series?
No. Last but not least, we had Girls Just Want a Side Hustle, which was, the premise of it was girls just took their side hustles and made it full time. Mm-hmm. So we talked to Emma about how to influence. We talked to Claire about how to change an industry. And then we talked to Nicole about leveling up. I think that's what we ended up calling it or something. But yeah, I mean, this is something, I mean, I'm obviously pressing on a lot of things that are both personal to us this season, as well as things that we've talked about collectively, like being our little business of two. And this one I really wanted to hit home on. And Emma, who I explicitly found through Instagram, through one of my Instagram only friends, yes, this is how I live now, is such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to content creation. And her whole premise is around how to help other content creators make money and go full time. And yeah, no, I just absolutely like adore her because I know her personally. But I felt really good about that episode in particular, just like for us to learn something, because that was definitely one of my missions I set out on when I was writing this editorial calendar for us was, let's learn a bunch of shit and decide what we're going to do with it. We're not going to build a bank. Check. We're going to dabble in crypto, I think. But like, should we take this full time? Question mark.
I had so much fun interviewing all three of them. I think the unfortunate situation for me is that I just really hate cameras. So,
we're doing a podcast, but we always decide to do visuals. We could just be audio all day.
No, but like YouTube is fun. YouTube is very fun. It's
YouTube just and our 55 followers.
Guys,
and here we are.
Can somebody help us hit 100? Like, that's the goal.
We need a goal here. We need to look at YouTube.
Here's my thing. I feel like I have to stare at my face all day in Zoom, and I'm still trying to figure out how to shut that off. Like,
what?
I haven't. There's a function that lets you not have to stare at your face, and I'm just trying to figure out where it is. If somebody wants to slide into my DMs and teach me how to turn off the camera. I'm just waiting for that moment because I would like to stop seeing my face, in which case, let's do it all day, baby. This is like the only time I do my makeup and my hair is for you. So, I'm here for all of the content creator stuff with the exception of video at the moment. So I'll expand that back into video as soon as I don't have to stare at myself all day. But yeah, I learned so much about content creation, and they make like more money than like the vast majority of the United States of America. So I'm into that as well. Would love. I still need to take Emma's course. That's on my to-do list, Emma. I'm sorry I haven't clicked play yet, but I will.
Oh, it's on there. No, it's definitely a fascinating industry, and I definitely think what do I tell people when they're like, so you started a podcast, why'd you start it? Do you ever get that question? I get that question a lot. Why'd you do that? And I'm like, Well,
well, what I was thinking was
it was a pandemic, and like I was bored on a Saturday, and Saira's like, "You want to stare at each other and drink wine and talk shit?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Okay.
And do you want to not get paid for it? Yes. Here we go.
Wait. Let's backpedal for a second though, because we did plan on having some kind of a bit at some point when when I was living in Seattle, you and I were like, we would go riff raff off of each other. Like you would make up a story, I would make up a story. We would we would turn skiing down a hill into like a full-fledged crisis where, helicopters are coming to assist us to get down that side of that hill. And people are probably dying. Like it was a whole thing. So I feel like it was some piece of destiny.
Oh my God. I knew you were going to say it was a calling.
We were called to the microphone. You don't think so? You don't think so? Why are you laughing?
No, I don't know. Maybe we were. No, I know. I mean, the thing is, we were always like, we were those people for 7 years. We're like, all right, let's start a notebook and we're going to write this stuff down and then we're going to do it. And then we just drink too much wine. Like it never happened. Until now. Until you were like, okay, we're actually going to do this. And I was like, all right, fine. No, it definitely was a calling. It definitely is fun. Even, when we struggle and we're sick and we're trying to show up and like be here and be entertaining. No, I do love it. Like if we could do this all the time and do like the finance stuff and do other things, like I'd be down. So I should take Emma's course too.
Yeah, you're stuck with me.
I should take Emma's course too. All
right, let's make that homework. We'll take Emma's course together.
All right, we're giving each other homework. Done.
Good grief. All right.
Well, general thoughts on season 2, dude.
Should we take a quick break before we do general thoughts?
Yeah, I could use some water.
Okay. General thoughts on the whole season. Ready? Go.
I like this structure. I like the way that we're shifting the content a little bit, as to say, hey, yes, we can talk about traditional finance. We can talk about tools and tips to make you better, and we will continue to pepper those in because we should. But I also like taking the angle of, here's life, here's how you can think about it, and here's our financial perspective on it. Well, really, Cyrus. But I like that because I think for me, I become of more the every girl that I am, that I bring to the table, the one that pushes and asks questions with no shame. And you become or are the financial responsible one and the financial advocate. Like who thought about like how much a kid costs? Maybe a lot of people. But the cost of a kid and talking about it.
Most people don't plan for that though. Think about it, a baby shower. That's the extent of planning that people get into it. And on the front, I mean, there's so many cool stats about this, but like so many people go into debt having a baby because they don't realize how much that stuff costs. They don't do homework on how much they're going to get charged at the hospital. They don't realize, formula is expensive and you can't always plan for whether or not you're going to, get to breastfeed. So lots of stuff that people don't recognize that are super expensive. And I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure Nick and I will be going broke no matter what. They also always say that you can't ever plan for a baby. It just ends up being way more expensive than you plan. So such is life. But yeah, I think the one thing that I took away from all of this is that there are so many things to think about and from different angles. And like, just generally across the board for me, like what is my risk tolerance for each of these individual things? Would I be interested in actually doing them? Who are these incredible, powerful people that have accomplished so many things? And could I do something similar myself? And I'm coming closer and closer to the conclusion that like, yes, I do want to do something on my own. No, I don't know what that is still. But at least now I have like trust in myself and in you, that we'd at a minimum be extremely financially savvy about it because we're very good at breaking that piece of it down.
And I know we talked about this in last season finale, but I feel like we've also learned how to work together, which was hard. You know, like being able to trust and being able to be like, get stuff done. And both of us are very type A. And so it's hard.
In different ways, though. Like you
Yes.
running the Notion and being like, I'm going to take care of the schedule and all of our topics and some of our creative. And I was like, cool, 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 cool. I can figure out the rest of it. So the planning and the scheduling and the like, how are we going to nuance this from a fiscal standpoint?
Yeah. Well, we've come a long way. It's still a lot of work.
It's way more work than I originally expected. Most people have no clue. If you have never started a business with your bestie, the pandemic may have been the best time to try because at least then we had a whole bunch of time on Saturday evenings.
So true. It is so true.
It was like my saving grace to my long week stuck inside of my tiny apartment, which eventually became here. So,
Anyway, I guess that's a wrap on season 2, huh?
It's only up from here, right?
I would hope so. Only up.
You're not convincing me right now, but I'm going to say that we're only continuing on the upward trajectory.
Tune in next time for Girls Just Want to Have Fun season 3. Yeah.
Saucy.
Yes.
I'm not going to be the first one to say it, so you say it.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.